Log on to fitmanperformance.com for the latest and greatest truth about training, nutrition, recovery, and unleashing your inner greatness. And download your copy of my groundbreaking ebook, Use Speed to Get Lean, the Sprinting Handbook for Lifters at usespeedtogetlean.com. Hey everybody, it's your man Fitman, head performance coach at the Fitman Performance Center, and today's topic, we're going to get into another workout review of a speed training session on the hill outside of my gym. So what are we doing with this training session? What are we actually trying to do? We are training acceleration and maximum velocity. These are two very important components of sprinting. Acceleration is how fast can you reach your top speed? How fast can you get from 0 to 60? We train this by coming from a 3 or 4 point stance and sprinting 10, 20, 30 yards or meters and trying to get up to our top speed as fast as possible. For maximum velocity, we'll have a 10 or 20 or 30 yard or meter acceleration zone in which we are building speed. And then once we hit that cone that is 10 or 20 or 30 meters in front of where that acceleration zone started, we then pick up and get to our top speed and try to hold it for that 10 or 20 or 30 yard or meter distance. This is how we build maximum velocity. You need both elements to be a successful sprinter. And we have the hill because up here in Pennsylvania, in Abington, in suburban Philadelphia, it gets cold in the fall. It gets cold in the winter. And we're trying to continue to work speed, but also stay injury free. And it's hard when it's 15 degrees or 20 degrees out and we're on a flat track trying to run 30-yard flies. That cold weather has an impact. So we don't do that as often in the wintertime up here, and we use the hill more often because the hill is a natural governor switch, and it keeps our top speed down because of the incline. So this allows us to still train speed safely so that when the spring starts, we're not starting out of shape and slow because we didn't do any speed work. So let's get into the workout right now. We'll review everything at the end of the workout. So I always say the most nerve-wracking part of sprinting is getting down into the start position. A lot of things going through your mind. If this was a race, you've got the competition next to you, but even though it's just training, because we have this automatic timing system, the free lap timing system, you know what times you have to beat, and it makes it very competitive. You don't get this if you're out there and you're not timing your sprints. The free lap changes the whole game. It makes training very competitive. So let's see what we got here for our first rep. Check that out. A 3:15. Now, that became a 3:15 because of the 1:85 10-yard start. When you're in a short race, the start is everything. And that 1:85, which is a PR on the hill for me in a 10-yard start, is exactly why I was able to get that 3:15, and that betters the mark that I had the prior week, which was a 3:16. Now it's only a hundredth of a second, but in a short race, a hundredth is everything. Everything. So let's see what rep number 2 looks like. So again, just trying to shake out the cobwebs and the nervousness that comes from being in that starting position. There's no feeling like this in sports, and it's amplified when you're in a race and you hear on your marks, get set, go. There's nothing like it. Nothing. So let's see what this second rep looks like here. Whew! Oh, that was terrible. 3:27. We're going to talk about that when the workout's over, okay? So let's get into this 10-yard hill fly. Okay, 1, 2, 3, but the best in this series so far has been a 118. So 1, 2, 3 is just, it's not good enough. It's not cutting. Got to sprint a bit faster here. And as you see with maximum velocity, we have an acceleration zone. And when I hit that first cone, I really try to burst. Okay, we got a 1-2-1. That's better than a 1-2-3, but it's still not a 118. Last one here. And we've got a 1-2-2 to close it out. So let's talk about everything that happened with this workout. And as you see, I have put up a graphic with all of my times for that 3-week training phase on the hill. So let's start with the 20-yard hills for acceleration. So in week 3, 3:15 was the best overall time throughout all 3 weeks. Also, 3:27 was the worst overall time of the 3 weeks. So sometimes what happens in training, and it doesn't happen often, but it does happen. Sometimes you have a PR. Sometimes that PR takes so much out of you that when you try to do it again, you fall short. And I fell very short. That 3:27 is horrible. And if I go look at the numbers on the free lap, which I don't have in front of me right now, that race is probably a 3:27 because of a bad start. Because in a short race, when your time is bad, the vast majority of the time is because you had a bad start. Because you don't just get a tenth slower magically. It's a bad start. So that's something that I need to work on so that I don't run any more 3:27s. But overall, we see we had a 3:25 and a 3:19 in week 1. Then we had a 3:17 and a 3:16 in week 2. And we had a 3:15 and a 3:27 in week 3. So 3:15 is my best 20-yard hill time ever. That's a PR. And I'll take it. Yes, I want to improve upon it, but I did what I needed to do in this 3 weeks to get a bit faster. Now let's talk about these 10-yard hill flies. In a reverse situation, you now see that in week 1, I had my best time of a 118. And I was unable to even get under 120 ever again throughout all 3 weeks. A couple 122s, a 121, 124, 123, 2 125s. So I felt like I performed better in the 20-yard hills than I did in the 10-yard hill flies. I feel like I left some meat on the bone on those 10-yard hill flies because I was only able to get under a 1-2 one time, which to me tells me that I'm not a sub 1-2 guy on that 10-yard hill fly because it only happened once. More of a 1-2-2 guy right now, a 1-2-3 guy. So it's something that I need to work on. But overall, this is what speed training is. It's not a linear process. You don't just come out and just get faster every single week. There's a lot of factors that go into how much progress you'll make in a speed session. What lifting workout did you do the day before? How'd you eat? How'd you sleep? Where are your stress levels? There's so much that goes into speed because sprinting is a neural exercise. It's connected to your central nervous system. And if your CNS is not in prime condition, your sprints will suffer. There's no way around that. But overall, I thought that this was a good performance, and I was able to still set some PRs, even though I felt that there was still some meat on the bone. So the next time that this exact phase comes up, my goal is to beat these times. I want to go 3:14. I want to go 1:17. That's the goal. Continual progress. Up here in the Northeast, Pennsylvania, Abington, suburban Philadelphia, we have to use this hill in the wintertime to retain and improve upon our speed, to do our pure speed training. Because it gets so cold in the winter, we don't spend as much time on the flat track doing speed work. It's very hard to get to 95% in a 30-meter fly when it's 25 degrees outside. And on top of that, because it's so cold, your body doesn't warm up the same way. So your risk of injury goes up a bit when you're on the flat track still trying to do speed work. Whereas when you're on this hill, the hill, it acts as a natural governor switch. You can't get the full speed on a hill. My best 10-meter fly on the track in a 30-meter fly is a 1 flat. You just saw that my best 10-yard fly on the hill was a 118. That's a major difference, and that's how the hill acts as a natural governor switch to keep your speed down. And when your speed is down a bit, it reduces your risk of injury. Because up here in the Northeast, we can't just say, well, from October till March, we're not going to sprint. We're not going to train speed. If we do that, by the time the spring starts, we're going to get smoked. We going to get dusted. We going to get burnt out on the track. And that's unacceptable. This is where Southern sprinters have an advantage because it's warmer all throughout the year. But it's no excuse for the Northern sprinter to then say, well, it's cold outside, dog. I get back to it in April. By April, you're done. The season, you can't come back. You don't have enough time. So it's no excuse. You got to find a way to continue to train your speed in the wintertime if you don't have the access to an indoor track. And this is where the hill comes in. So we're going to continue to hit this hill throughout the fall, throughout the winter, so that when spring comes back around, we're not showing up out of shape and slow from not doing any speed work for 6 months. You got to train speed in some fashion all throughout the year. Yes, the intensity and the volume is going to change based on what you're doing at the time, but you've got to keep your speed sharp. You've got to stay on top of it, and you don't want to just not do it because it will show up when it's April and May, and you don't have it because you haven't done it. Okay? The only way to get it is to do it. And you got to continue to train speed even though it gets a bit cold in most of the country. So, thanks for checking out the workout. It's your man Fitman. Holla at a trainer when you see me at the center.